Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Hi, everybody. I'm Frank Stanisci of Candid Frank Live, where you'll find us airing our views here on the Spanglish World Network on Zingo TV Channel 250. Please remember to download the Zingo TV app at the respective app stores for iOS and Android devices. While you download, make sure you rate and leave a comment. Both apps are absolutely free. Zingo TV is available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire, Fire TV sticks, Roku sticks, and also on all smart TVs 2016 forward. Now on Candid Frank Live, the one, the only, Aaron William Freeland. Hello, Aaron. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Frank. How are you?
Peachy. If you couldn't tell, peachy. Oh
uh,
my goodness. Well,
I tell you,
let go
if
ahead.
it
I'm
weren't
sorry.
for
Go ahead.
bad luck with technology today, Frank, I don't think we'd have any luck at all.
Oh no, it was amazing. If I wasn't a part of it, I wouldn't believe it. But we'll press on and we'll survive. Let's start with the sports. Aaron gathered some information and said, "Frank, here's what I'd like to talk about." So why don't we do that? Except for one small little thing.
Sure.
Don't you hate it when the mechanic burns out your stuff? Never mind. Okay, so the Dallas Stars lose their entire coaching staff. This is a team that made it to the Stanley Cup final a short couple of years ago.
Yeah, they kind of backed into the playoffs this time around and didn't do as well as they could have hoped in their first round. I mean, they lost. It was a fantastic series. Let's say that right off the top. They lost in overtime. Jake Ottinger was absolutely fantastic, but Rick Bowness is actually voluntarily stepping down from his role as head coach of the Dallas Stars. They confirmed on Friday. I know this is a little bit delayed, but we haven't done a show since Friday, so there you go. John Stevens, Derek Lockstell, and Todd Nelson will also not be returning either. So that's the rest of the coaching staff. Now, he was initially hired as assistant head coach, but was promoted to interim head coach duties in December after Jim Montgomery was fired due to unprofessional conduct. So Bowness helped the team to the 2020 Stanley Cup Finals, where they lost to Tampa. Dallas was recently eliminated again in the seventh round against the Calgary Flames in overtime. He was 89, 62, and 25 during his 3 seasons with the Stars. So,
not a bad coach, just
nope.
not good enough. And in the eyes of ownership and or upper management, a change was necessary in Dallas, and they received the change. Tampa Bay, I guess it's debatable which team was better this year, Florida or Colorado. Either way, Tampa beat Florida. Leaf fans are going, interesting. See, it's not fair. Why should we play Tampa in the first round?
Well, let's be honest here. This continues the fine NHL tradition of President's Trophy winners not making it to the Stanley Cup Finals. So there's that. And it's I think of this as a sop towards some beleaguered Leaf fans because the 2-time Stanley Cup champions advanced to the second round after absolutely demolishing the Florida Panthers 4 games straight. You can take some consolation in the fact that we took them to 7 games, and Florida only managed to lose 4 straight against them. Also, interesting side note here, Frank. This is the first time that a team has scored a goal on the Tampa Bay Lightning in a Game 7 since 2017 or 18, I believe. Every other Game 7 that they've played and all the different series that they've played has been a shutout. So,
but they won 2-1 in the Leafs 7th game.
Yeah, but we scored a goal on them. No other team has in the past 3 or 4 years. Yeah. So,
okay.
Small consolation.
The except for Toronto is. I missed that part. I didn't hear that part. Look, Tampa is a very good team, and they're a very good playoff team, and they've proven that they can do that. Florida is a new team that has discovered some greatness. and unfortunately, as does happen with teams who are on their upswing, they're trending better. Unfortunately, it seems too often these really good teams during the season, the Leafs have done it repeatedly, Florida for the first time. It happens. Experience in the playoffs and positive experience in the playoffs is very helpful. Colorado and St. Louis, the Avalanche announced that Nazem Kadri, after running into the goaltender in St. Louis, causing the goalie to be bye-bye for the season, which is the playoffs, and that's sad, gets threats and racially charged threats. Aaron, it's,
This is one of those. First of all, they actually started getting these nasty direct messages and threats and whatnot through the Nazem Kadri Foundation Twitter page, and then on his cat's Instagram page. His cat Jazzy has her own Instagram, and she started getting the death threats for Nazem through that. So Mikey Stevens, one of the Maple Leafs fans, took some of these death threats that had been posted by Nazem's wife and posted them up and got a direct message apparently from one of the message sender's brothers saying, "Could you please take it down? We're starting to get death threats and my family feels unsafe." To which the majority of people responded to that, "How do you think Nazem Kadri feels?" Because this is an ongoing thing. You've dealt with it. I've dealt with it. And Nazem had a great quote in a press conference. He was asked, how do you feel about all of this? And he says, well, I keep trying to play it off like it's no big deal, but it really is. And it's something that he's dealt with pretty much his entire career. It doesn't help that one of the other players in this particular case, Jordan Binnington, has been rather unkind and denigrating to foreigners on his Twitter page as recently as about 2 years ago. Also threw a water bottle at him while he was doing a post-game press conference on the ice. So that doesn't help at all.
Well, Jordan Binnington is a bit of a loose cannon. This is something that it's funny. He burst onto the scene as this goaltender with this amazing concentration and inability to be thrown off. That ended pretty quick once things started getting a little testy for him in regards to his playing style wasn't working.
Yeah.
And yes, he ended up with some stuff that he did that unacceptable.
No, and 110% absolutely unacceptable. But you can't really cancel anybody these days. So he's still around. So it is what it is.
It's typical, and where I stand on this, and unfortunately, well, Aaron, the fact is that people overreact, and then once they overreact, they have to. Other people go, "Oh, I don't like your overreaction, so now I'm going to overreact." And then there's going to be another group who's going to say, "Well, I don't like the way you overreacted," and then they get the attention of people and overreact. This is the problem. You know that one constant on this show when we talk, I'm not a big fan of instant reaction and assumption, and to assume that Nazem Kadri deserves that kind of treatment is only something that sprouts from anger. Two things. The other one is stupidity. So, unfortunately, stupidity is not something that I don't think any of us can avoid at times. We have to be able to discover, hone our skills on being able to filter what we say before it goes out. Everybody's guilty of something leaving their mouth and they go, I wish I could rewind. That's life. It's the people who are waiting for an opportunity, and in this case with Kadri, people who are waiting for who appear to be people who are waiting for an opportunity to put somebody down, and those are the people that I get really that I think we need to figure out a way how to shut them down. The people who are looking for an opportunity to be negative and hurtful and, vicious with their commentary, regardless of the impact it has on somebody out there who might be a little unhinged, as we've seen in recent history. We can talk about that later if we have any time. So Kadri gets a hat trick. Well, there you go. How do you like
Yep.
him now?
The day after getting death threats and the day after receiving a lot of abuse online, not to mention St. Louis police and Colorado police also opening investigations into these tweets and death threats that were sent to him. That's another thing to note as well, that law enforcement agencies are now involved in this. So
Only
that's
because of
something else to bear in
pressure.
mind.
Only
Well,
because of pressure from
understandably.
people outside of the police department. Because here's the truth, folks, and I'm going to say this with as gently as I can. The police can't be chasing threats, and unfortunately, the law in the United States and in Canada, and this is at times why sometimes people who we assume should be locked up aren't locked up, because you can't do anything until they actually do something. You can't charge someone with assault until they assault somebody, and that's the scary part, right? That's the thing I was saying a little earlier, is that it's tough, Aaron, and I know someone like yourself wants to make sure that people like that don't end up doing what gets done, but people like me worry sometimes that we can't arrest everybody who looks like they might be a criminal. The justice system, I don't think, can handle it.
And the issue here really isn't that police are there to prevent crime. They're there to enforce the laws and fines and
Right.
punishments after crime.
Unfortunately, they're not. That's not their job. Their job isn't to predict crime.
Nope.
And when they do, they get in a lot of trouble as well. So they're not big fans of doing that kind of stuff. So the NHL has some work to do. The message, as you stated, is not clear enough, strong enough to do what we just said, which is to prevent action that is unacceptable. And the National Hockey League and all those sports leagues, they have a responsibility to try at least to make sure that people understand that, ordinary human decency is a thing that maybe we should consider, instead of vile anger and frustration over your team losing their goaltender or a game or a series.
And the real issue here is, yeah, sure, they're trying to make progress, but the Hockey Diversity Alliance has basically been shut out of NHL dealings. The whole hashtag you can play and the whole hashtag hockey is for everyone thing that the NHL has tried has been dismal. The most action that you've been getting is from players themselves when it comes to the whole Black Lives Matter thing and all of that. The largest strides have been made not by the NHL themselves, but by players in the HDA. That people need to pay more attention to, because this issue isn't going away. As a matter of fact, it's probably only going to get worse. So,
we're not called fans for no reason. It's a short form of fanatical, right? So it's in the name, if you know what I mean.
yeah. Oh, no, I mean, it's definitely baked in there. Now, understand, these individuals that are making allegations and death threats to Nazem Kadri are not 100% representative in the slightest of the St. Louis fan base. They are the fringe
No.
element.
But it's always a fringe element. And to your point earlier, and I agree, and I agreed, it's the majority that needs to rally against the minority. And I think what you're suggesting, as far as the National Hockey League is concerned, for the same reason, larger groups do not want to alienate smaller groups, because they don't want to irritate smaller groups that are on their side or are their people. The National Hockey League doesn't want to alienate any group, because they all buy tickets, they all follow teams, they all are a part of the cash stream. So sometimes sacrifice is a little too much for people, places, groups, whatever. So we have to do a better thing of sacrificing a little bit for the common good, and that, I think, is the underlying desire that I think most decent people want, and that is common good. There is such a thing as common good. and still maintain our insanity over our teams. Just ask Leaf fans.
There's a very delicate rope to be
And
walked.
by insanity, I don't mean crazy, crazy. I mean fanatical crazy. By definition, fans in their, their overcharged zealousness in rooting for their team in a positive manner is my favorite thing. It's the negative stuff that can go. Carolina and the New York Rangers. The Rangers were behind 2-0. Aaron, what happened?
Well, as is tradition when it comes to teams that are fairly evenly matched, home ice advantage really is a thing. So, Carolina won 2 at home, and New York won their 2 at home. So we're all back at even Stevens, coming back to Carolina again. So I'm wondering if they're going to try to pull the rabbit out of the hat and get David Ayers to crank the air raid siren for him again. But we'll have to see.
I gotta say that there's penalties that are being called. That when was the last time that you saw instigation penalty?
Would have been during the regular season earlier on. There was actually an instigation and an incitement penalty that was called, but I haven't really heard of that being called in the playoffs.
Long time ago.
Oh, it's been a past of months.
Definition of inconsistent?
A little bit.
Don't you think? I think so.
Maybe.
I know so. I know so. This is the part that makes, watching, if you actually understand and watch and as I'm fanatical about the way the league is run, and the Rangers get a gift from the refereeing. That instigation penalty was the difference, as it turned out. Carolina, can they recover in Game 5 and turn this 2 of 3 into their series? Don't really know, because if Ranger goaltending holds up.
If Ranger goaltending holds up, I mean, Shesterkin's been a member of the Vezina conversation for a while now. He's played absolutely dynamite for them, so that's one thing they have to consider. Also, on the flip side, Carolina has been getting some absolutely fantastic goaltending as well. Freddie Anderson's return has been bumped back again. So, hey, Carolina fans, welcome to your Anderson era.
Yeah. Just, Carolina fans are a little concerned because they don't want to be Shesterkined.
Yeah, as a common saying goes, when it comes to the Leafs, just getting goalied in general.
Absolutely. How about this? The greatest player in the world is playing like the greatest player in the world. And Calgary did a marvelous job of holding Connor McDavid to 2 points.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic when that's looked upon as a great accomplishment when you only hold the guy to a couple of points instead of, 3 or 4.
McDavid has got to score 3 goals.
Oh, McDavid has been taking it to an absolutely insane new level, and it's so much fun to watch.
Good for him. Yeah. Good for him. This is a guy who has truly, and a team that truly has missed the mark in the playoffs since 2017, mind you. They did, remember in 2017, it was Connor McDavid. I don't know if I'm going to sign the contract here, was being said about him privately, by people suggesting that, this losing in Edmonton, not making the playoffs is, it's so tiring. Maybe I should go to Toronto. And then they make it, and they make it through the playoffs, and in 2017 have a pretty good run. It looks like they might be repeating that performance, Aaron, and they're doing it with a couple of Leaf players.
Yeah, the much maligned Tyson Berry and Cody Ceci are still in the playoffs. Not to mention other acquisitions that were questionable, like Duncan Keith.
Well, he's looked like the old Duncan Keith. Evander Kane, I told you then that was a player that I would have really enjoyed watching with the Leafs. He offers the kind of edge. Is he likable? Is he a likable chap? A lot of people say no. I mean, I kind of, as a person, I wasn't a big fan of his because of the thing he did in Vegas with the bricks of money. I find that, I find that in times when a lot of people aren't eating regularly, don't have a roof over their heads, and people who make money do stuff like that, they put me on. They turn me off. I'll be honest, and but that doesn't make the guy a horrible human being. And he has had accusations, but you know what? Until they're proven, back to what we talked about at the beginning, this guy is a trigger man. He truly is, and he's making room for McDavid as much as McDavid is making room for him.
As with so many things in hockey, it always boils down to, does he win you games? So
Well,
he's been
hat-tricks
helping
tend to
them
do
win
that.
games, and
Hat-tricks tend to do that.
there you
Um,
go.
and you know, when your best players play well, Aaron, what we've learned over the playoffs, it's one of the first things you should learn, but it's one of the last things that really hits home for people, and that is the best players have to play their best in the playoffs. If they do not, their team lacks success. Calgary right now, their top guns are shooting blanks.
There have been a couple pucker-inducing moments, I got to admit. 21 seconds into the game last night, I
Oh,
realized that Calgary might be in a bit of trouble. Yeah, Mr. Markstrom went for a little wander behind the net, managed to whiff on the outlet pass, and Nugent Hopkins, who has been needing a goal so desperately this entire playoffs,
it
was
set him
the
off.
beneficiary of his munificence, and boom, there you go.
That's what happens
Michelle
when
and I
it's
actually,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Michelle and I switched away from the game for approximately 4 minutes, sorry. And when we came back, it was something like 3-0. It's just one of those, oh,
You know that song, heel and toe, heel and toe. Well, in his case, more heel, less toe. And unfortunately, it came out front. But you know what? Then there was that long distance goal. The one, I mean, when you're screened at center ice, your goaltending needs a little bit of, you need to be a little bit. That is quite the trickery there, to have a couple of players around center ice and your blue line, no closer than your blue line. It looks like, and I think the reaction of Smith indicates that he didn't see the puck coming 100 and what is it, 63 feet they're talking
I
about.
I know that everybody's going to jump on him for this, and they
Ooh.
should. But at the same time, John Gibson, when the Ducks had their blackout uniforms on, also lost the puck. It was sitting on his pants, and he knocked it into the net himself.
Yeah.
Andrei Vasilevsky, when the Tampa Bay Lightning were wearing their blackout jerseys, also lost the puck and almost got handcuffed by it. So,
Are you using the
can,
word blackout for a reason? What color's the puck?
yes, the jerseys were completely black.
And what color's the puck?
Black. So of course he's going to miss it. So
No
the Edmonton
contact.
Oilers with their royal blue jerseys, if a defenseman is shooting from behind the screen like they did, there's a very good chance that your goalie's going to lose sight of it. So,
Can you imagine Tampa having 2 goals disallowed in just over a minute? Was that a marvel or what?
Absolutely fantastic. And seeing as we're in the last minute ourselves, yeah, it's something I can definitely imagine happening.
Absolutely. So the Leafs are on vacation. Have you heard any word on their golf game? Is it better than last year? Is it improving?
No, but some guy named Marner snagged my tee time at the local course. I was a little upset.
Oh, shame on him. All right. So Quebec health officials confirmed 10 more cases of monkeypox for a total of 15.
Yeah, this is something that's looking a little off. I'm not sure exactly what's going on in Quebec right now, but it does seem to be spreading. So it's one of those things where you need to be careful. We thought it had been eradicated back in 1980, but apparently it's back.
Quebec legislature adopts Bill 96 language law. Legault calls reform moderate.
Yeah, it passed with a vote of 78 to 29. With the Liberals and Parti Québécois opposing it. It strikes a balance between the positions of the Liberal and the PQ on this sort of thing. So, but it could potentially negatively affect Quebec's English-speaking minority, so that's a concern.
We had a slow start. We're going to just take back a couple of minutes that we lost, folks. BC, Trudeau cancels appearance at event in BC after protesters hurl racial slurs.
Yes, so Anita Anand was actually going to be there as well. and somebody showed up with a noose.
Lovely.
Yeah, fantastic.
Terrible. So the Texas governor a short time ago posted, not hours, but days, weeks, whatever. He posts, I don't know whether the NRA announced it, that California passed Texas in gun buying. And he posted, "Come on, Texas, you can do better. Let's buy more guns." Well,
Yeah, that
two
was
more got bought. Two more got bought by a kid on his birthday, turned 18, and he has ruined the life of 13 children and 2 teachers, last I heard.
yeah. The actual toll itself is up to 19 students and
There
2
you go.
teachers, so it
There
continues
you
to
go.
increase. This is a situation that continues to happen in a nation that has the power to enforce laws, because they're a nation of laws, to keep this from happening, and yet concern for the Second Amendment overrides concern for women's bodily autonomy. The Second Amendment is more powerful than Roe v. Wade. It is what it is. It's a
Pro-life
mind-numbing and
before
absolutely shattering
birth.
situation.
Pro-life before birth is what it looks like. And that's the sad truth. The other thing is that the Senate could vote on a bill that would ensure that people like the last 2 mass murderers, 2 18-year-old boys, would not have the ability to buy these kinds of guns, or any guns for that matter, because 21 would become the age of you able to drink and to buy a gun. But right now you can buy a gun but can't drink at the age of 18.
Well, there's also a law that was just recently passed in California. And when I say recently, I mean hours ago, that will now allow victims of crime to sue those who manufacture ghost guns and who sell them. So,
and there should be, well, you
it's
know
a
what?
start.
Yeah, listen, there's nothing worse than a parent dropping their child off at school with every legitimate intention to pick them up, and then they don't, and it's terrible. And something has to be done. Separating people who shouldn't have guns from guns is not eliminating the Second Amendment.
No, the Second Amendment is also not absolute. There need to be limitations on it, and that needs to be understood. Conservative Judge Antonio Scalise actually came out with a decision and with a writ that's a paper that said, "Yeah, look, I understand everybody's love for the Second Amendment, but the Second Amendment in and of itself is not absolute. There are limitations."
Absolutely, the intention is for people to protect themselves, not attack people. And I've yet to see a deer with a flak jacket. But you know what? Not much of a hunter. Okay, Aaron, thanks for this.
Hey, appreciate that, Frank. Thanks for having me.
I'm Candid Frank Stanisci. Thank you for watching Candid Frank Live, Aaron, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. This show can also be heard on the Spanglish World Radio Network. For Candid Frank Live, other news and entertainment, sports programming we offer, please check out SpanglishWorld.ca. Spanglish World. Watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and live it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Ciao for now.